This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. With a well-oiled crack, the lock. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Just a feeling. A warning from some part of you. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
The container sounds a muffled gong.
We should return later, officer. I don't think we were thorough enough. There may be more in there.
The trash container. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows. The methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches as the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage. A rank.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong, drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too. A white belt. The belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else?
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the...
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it.
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back. It's just organic waste. Coal. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms.
Officer, is that your paperwork? Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? What are you talking about? Doeth thou also thorough inventories? You should take stock of your notes. Make sure it's all there. Official notes contain informants' names. If some of it has fallen into the hands of the RCM's adversaries, bloodletting, it would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the Yellow Man.
Interesting. Reminds me of the mug collection we saw in our weasel's apartment. Maybe he or she has...
An interesting little clue. Let's see where this goes. Clues have a way of magic.
Or it may just be a coincidence. Either way, something to keep in mind.
The container sounds a muffled gong. It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? Understood. You're that kind of... It's just, but... It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of... There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper. It's a metaphor for you. Thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and voila! The ledger now looks marginally. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at... It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week. What do you mean? Is that all?
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. 2? That's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. That's okay. We all do, sooner or later.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the a title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. In short, there was more. There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your... There is. Once all the... Sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do. The lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny... He is not really saying anything. Just standing there, looking at them.
Know that I give this to you with resentment.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand, uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41. Then, date of initialization and time of arrival on the... Why, yes, your precinct number is... Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And the... Harry Dubois, HDB. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower. Part cause of failure, rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. That true love is possible only in the next world. For new people, people call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, the 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villa Lobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what a staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it, turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy paper. So then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines. The middle ones are station. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in tone. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police, all in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. And something small inside, light, made of paper, permeables. It's not hidden per se. The compartment is made for permeable materials that would get damaged if something happened. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. Something rattles inside, ever so, and some permeables. The plastic shimmers with your hands. U4-sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the top of the board. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi discrete, or axle, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen that. Remember when I said the smell of the upstairs bathroom was so rank they should have sent a poet to describe it? Why, yes it is. Among many other things. This cleaning tablet is used by the whirling in rags. Perhaps that's where the...
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserable. We should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street.
Can I help you? What thing? Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even men on street.
You glance at the clock on the wall behind the manager. Huh.
Good question.
They're probably getting drunk or protesting something somewhere. Or laying low after the, lynching. They probably fucking killed that guy or something, and that's why.
I have a feeling we'll make their acquaintance sooner or later.
Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like... Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and...
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing. He looks at the dust on his finger and wipes it off.
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Another thing. Great. Yes? Yes. Have you got it? You must be joking, right? This isn't a game show. I'm not going to accept it. You
can cash it in at the local Frit near the harbor gates. Though, and come to think of it, Frit's probably closed at this hour. They are open from 7 to 11.
For the room, 60 real. Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Good luck trying to use it.
Draconian measures.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the...
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny...
I confiscated this for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
All right. Ready? I turn, you press...
The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The raspberry gauge jump like a leopard waking from its sleep. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of them.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and a...
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. You catch a faint glimmer from a broken beer bottle in the distance. Sounds. 2 men in...
Ah, Martinez at night. Let me see. Right here. No, it does not.
The rectangle. You catch a...
Ah, Martinez. Let me see. Right here. Oh yes. Coal City. Le Royaume. The burnt-out quarter.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around. You count 216 perforations. Considering that nice, large number, a wave of pride washed. The last row has 3 perforations. That's it.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were.
Alpha male officers who are proud of their numbers often do.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? That's what it says. I might have guessed even longer based on your age. What did you do all those blissful years of your youth? Maybe you were a diplomat, or in PR. Doesn't matter, I suppose. Let's move on. This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. Wow, more than 200. It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Right. Those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, there are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually bad. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for. Yes. Everyone has their own method of coping. Some more effective or self-destructive than others. Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies. Oh, this and that. Let's not get into it now. Why not gardening? You've already got the yellow gloves. If you want to pour out the booze you've been carrying around on duty, I'm certainly not going to stop you. As you will.
The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permit.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Pyrrolidon. It's a drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them. Pyrrolidon is just something I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work. Needless to say, an emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. And why no one. So much disappointment. And early deaths. No one's. If a bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best, what do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear... I like the theory more than the story.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Sure thing. Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know.
Wait, then it might be true. Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Sure, man. Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on. He won't be your nog, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into your gut.
Of course.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them.
Yes, these are very, very good.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense.
Thank you. Here's the 60 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being...
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Yes? What do you want to know? What's there to say? The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the industrial. Well, sort of. It's less. I think the dispatch desk just told.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competition. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are two columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills.
Yes, I am an unrepentant spoilsport.
It's all part of the master plan, you see.
Really? It can't be that. I hope you do. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Because you're the best qualified? No, that doesn't seem right. You look dumb if you keep the lieutenant waiting for too long.